Hi, and welcome to Forbidden Planet TV. And on today's episode, we're starting to feel a little bit Christmassy. We're starting to think of those great Christmas gifts. And we, of course, had to talk about the Tiffany Aching Guide to Being a Witch. So I'm joined today by Rhianna Pratchett and Gabrielle Kent. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you so much for coming today.
Well, no, thank you for this.
For the
don't see this kind of thing every day. Yeah,
no, I know.
Something.
This is what we do. We build a wall of books, so bringing people together.
You're the first people that have ever built us a wall. We really appreciate it.
Claim to fame. So we were actually talking about this the other day, and we were saying nothing used to say Christmas like having a new Terry Pratchett kind of every Christmas, and it's so just wonderful to kind of have something, you know, something new and something kind of exciting in the world. And obviously it's so many childhood memories coming flooding back. So where did the idea for this beautiful illustrated guide come from?
So it was pitched to me by Rob. I think they were generally thinking about books or kind of events that could mark 20 years since We Free Men. And he'd been kind of riffing on some ideas with another of our team members and said, well, what do you think about this? And I thought, I think that's great, but I wouldn't want to do it on my own. I think Gabrielle would be great to do it with me. I knew that she was a big fan of the witch books, as was I. And then I think I pitched it to you, and then we sort of both pitched it back to Rob, fleshed out a bit more. And then it kind of went from there.
It's so great. I think Rob's responsible for a lot of things to play. We had him in here a while back to sign, obviously, a Life with Footnotes. And just the ceremony of you know, because he obviously uses fresh ink and getting the pen ready for signings and stuff. So yes, there's a great ceremony to a Rob signing. So I'm so glad that we can do the same for you guys.
Yeah, we've got completely different pens.
Yes,
we've got purple pens, and Gabrielle's got a green pen. And they also erase as well. So it's very different. Like, it's on the other end of the pen spectrum, I think.
Still, like, funky colours
yeah.
win. I was an 80s kid. I used to, you know, all the the different pastel colours.
And the smells.
The smells.
It's probably toxic.
It probably did things to our heads back then. But
it's great as well, because I found when I'm signing, I tend to just start writing whatever I'm saying to the person I'm talking to. So at least I can erase that and actually put a signature in.
I like that. Or those the pens that used to have the Tippex bit on the end as well.
I think Tippex would really show up these ones.
And you've also obviously got the kind of wonderful illustrations by Paul Kidby as well. So it's just obviously great to see the classic illustrations back. So we have to obviously talk about kind of your first experiences within the disc world. So was your kind of first experience reading the witches' books?
It was. So I was back in the 1980s when a friend at school had lent me. I think it was like Fantastic, which was like actually the second, so it didn't make huge amount of sense. So I went back and read the first one, but it was so different. It was very different to other fancy authors then. It was the artwork, I think, that drew me to those. Josh Kidby's artwork back then was just absolutely stunning. And then once I discovered Mort and Equal Rights, I've just been absolutely absorbed in this world ever since. So it's mad. I still find it mad that I ended up best mates with the daughter of my favourite author, which just feels so weird. I promise I didn't just hunt you down.
Well, you've been playing a long game.
Yeah, this was the plan all along. One day I would write a Discworld.
20 years later.
And just looking through, obviously, the editions as we were lovingly unboxing these many copies earlier today. I love the kind of the quotes and everything kind of in and around in the margins. So kind of how did you work on those together? Yeah, so that was all.
Yeah, I think we generally each chapter had a sort of primary writer, and the other one would sort of come in with their own notes on it and ideas, and then I think the primary writer would usually do a first go at the comics, the comments, and then the other one of us would sort of come in with them, and sometimes we'd go through the chapters and we think, oh, this might be a good area for a comment, or we'd be looking at the artwork and how it's spread out on the page, and sometimes we put comments in to like balance out the page, or this page there's not been any artwork for a while, let's put something in there. So that a lot of them the comments came through in different stages.
If there was anything as well that could have like a double meaning or a slightly rude meaning, would be, oh, okay, there's no way Nanny Og would let that go. We need a kind of slightly rude comment.
But then you'd worry about them, that they might be too rude.
Yes, I did stuff. Oh, can we really put that in read? So the slightly rude.
Here we go, yeah.
Rhianna.
So if we can get by them.
And then I got really quite serious in some of the chapters towards the end, and then Reed was looking to put a comment in. No, don't throw in some battles in my Jeep. So there's a lot of backwards and forwards, so that we kind of like. But you're very sensitive with the comments in those bits.
And I think it definitely feeds into like saying a bit before about cozy fantasy having a moment, and people kind of wanting to, I suppose, have like a hug in a book, which we obviously we went through grimdark. We've been through many phases, dystopian fiction. We've made it through some very tough years of late. So it's great to see this kind of this cozy and fun fantasy making a comeback. So how important is that to just have that kind of, I suppose, that tonic. This book.
I think with this it just evolved because of we love these characters so much, and to actually be able to give these characters another outing, I think it felt like a tonic to us. I think to be able to bring them back out and speak in their voices. So I think it was always going to be. But it's your dad's writing. Even though you'd have this sharp social commentary, there was a coziness to it as well as.
So, I think The Witches had probably a certain seam of coziness running through them, maybe more than anything else, because a lot of it was based on the rural upbringings of my childhood. The coziness was, so I grew up with chickens and goats and bees and things like that, so a lot of that is just it's just Pratchett life turned into a book, and so a lot of the coziness comes through their rural existence. Mum and Dad lived a lot like Tom and Barbara from The Good Life, and it was literally goats in the front garden, chickens and ducks in the back, bees in a field over the other side of the valley. They grew vegetables in an old graveyard across the road. Not on the graves, like we grew the vegetables in the area the old chapel used to be, but it was a medieval graveyard. But it always used to, so it was just like, oh, where's Dad? He's in the graveyard. Digging up the potatoes, that kind of thing.
You told me the graveyard bit.
We got so it was all, but it was this sort of part of life, really. Like, it was a little pink cottage, so it was all very witchy. I was always like running around in nature and climbing trees and falling out of them again, and milking goats and spinning wool and that sort of thing. So it was very pastoral, and so I think a lot of that gets into the Witches series in particular, which is a nice vein of coziness.
I like the idea of like haunted vegetables as well.
That's a whole comic series, and that
could be the next trend. Vegetables. So not only both of you obviously have the wonderful Discworld in common, but you're both worked in the games industry as well. So kind of what have your experiences been in the games industry, and how has that kind of impacted other works for you?
Yeah, so I started in the games industry in the mid-90s when I did a placement, and then moved into working on car racing game after car racing game for many years before I moved into lecturing at uni. But that was how I met Rhianna. Was once I started lecturing, there was I mean, it's a very male-dominated industry, the games industry. And there was a conference set up for women in games, and we went along, and it was suddenly a room full of women in the games industry, and just sort of meeting other women.
I remember no other women apart from you.
And that's just a spotlight on me, everyone faded.
I remember me cute, yeah.
Yeah.
The eyes met over PlayStation.
Yes.
You said I look like Evil Willow from Buffy. I read your reviews in season. But yeah, so and Rhi was just moving from journalism into games.
So yeah, I'd sort of started writing in '96, doing games reviews for actually a women's magazine called Minx, and then I moved into doing some reviews for PC Gear magazine, and then I got a job at PC Zone and a full-time job, and so I spent a long time going around the industry and interviewing developers and sort of seeing how the sausage is made, and then moved into working on narrative and developing narrative, and so that's where I spent most of my career doing that. So I've worked on thankfully never a racing game, but probably I'm most known for working on the Tomb Raider reboots. Tomb Raider and Rise of the Tomb Raider, Heavenly Sword, Mirror's Edge, all the Overlord games, little indie game called Lost Words, which is all about sort of grief and death and love and memories. And I still work in games, and I still do quite a lot of consulting and things like that. And I'm a bit of a elder stateswoman now in the games industry.
I think while it's nice to sort of work in a big team in the games industry, it's just really nice writing novels that it's just, well, normally the books I've written before, it's just been me, but to have my best mate.
Yeah, I mean, you've got someone to fix your hair, give you painkillers if you got a headache. It's nice and text if a good review comes in, text if a bad review comes in. It's nice to have that. That company and companionship.
Yeah, definitely. Do you read the reviews then? I know authors are very yes or absolutely not.
Yeah, I learned with my first series. I mean, even you can have hundreds of good reviews, but there's one bad one, and that's the one you focus on.
Yeah.
And I learned. I haven't checked Goodreads in years. I've started looking at it a bit now with this, but mainly because I'm just interested to see what people, what they think, how they feel about what we've done with the world. So we are checking the reviews just to see what people think.
Yeah.
There's a great review for a bifold door, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Pointed out.
That was nice. It's when you get a good review that's for something completely different, you're thinking, do I say? I don't know. Is there now a bifold door that has a review for Tiffany Aching's Guide to Being a Witch? That's going to confuse a few people, but it might get some more fans.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been lovely to see the response, and I think fans have been sort of pleasantly surprised by it, and I think they thought it was going to be just maybe a collection of quotes from the book and not something not like its own thing, which I think it very much is. But it's also, you can read it not knowing and having read any of the books, and because it's written for an audience that's don't know everything Tiffany has done, and so you'll get more out of it if you've read the Tiffany books, but it's still very accessible even if you haven't.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I don't think you realise how impactful some of these books are, when you're growing up, and then when you kind of come back to them when you're older, and you're just like, oh, actually, this has shaped me in some way I didn't realise. Yeah,
we hear that a lot from fans, that Terry Pratchett helped, shape the person I am, and that's great. It's sort of, I had to share my father as a kid. Didn't really get much of a choice in it, but it's sort of it's nice that there was, that helped other people. Having my dad go away on signing tours for long periods of time, or be, writing away in the evenings and stuff. It was okay, maybe that was kind of worth it, because it's also helped other people in many different ways, and so it probably karmically has all balanced out.
Interesting. Have you ever thought about kind of I know there's obviously been some adaptations within Discworld and various TV shows and stuff over the years. have you ever thought about like game adaptations or comics or anything else within the universe?
Well, there have been comics of various books, and obviously the Click and Point adventure games. I mean, we'd like to bring the Click and Point adventures sort of back through something like Night Dive or GOG, but it's actually finding out who owns the rights. Like, lots of people think we do, and it's like, if we did, it'd be right out there, but we just own the rights to the characters, and because a lot of studios have been bought and sold over the years, it's quite difficult to find out where they are. And also there's a very boring kind of rights issues, because, like, Narrativia, which is the company that we set up, myself, Dad, and Rob set up to kind of help guide IP adaptations of Dad's books, and we've worked on sort of several things that have got out there, and several things sort of behind the scenes as well. You have to make sure like rights are free if someone picks something up. It's all very, very boring. But I've done quite a bit of adaptation outside of my Dad's stuff, so I work in film and TV as well, and I've adapted a number of books to screen, and I've worked on Dad's books as well, but it's finding the right partnership and the right time, and the industry is always changing, and the approach to and the interest in fantasy is always changing, and so it's just, I'm really hoping we do find it, and as I said, we've done lots of work behind the scenes.
She does some really good stuff.
Yeah, she's very clever like that. It's getting out there. It's just getting it out there, finding the right partners, and one of the most powerful things that the estate has is the ability to say no to things, and we we don't want to deploy that, but we have to kind of protect things. And it also means that when we say yes to things, people can be. Fans can feel secure that there's a good reason for us doing that.
Yes. Yeah. So obviously, especially in the last couple of years, we've obviously had the new jackets for the Discworld series, and kind of trying to, I suppose, introduce a new generation to the Discworld. So what do you think are the messages that Discworld could give kids today?
Oh gosh,
I know.
Shall we kind of narrow it down to the witches?
Yes.
I think so. Although Vimes has some great.
I mean, Vimes probably Vimes' boot theory is probably probably one that gets quoted a lot. I'd say that's the most quoted one. Sin is when you treat people as things. The Granny Weatherwax one is probably the one I've seen quoted a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot about how you treat people. Mm-hmm. And it's as we say in the book, it's not, magic is about not understanding power, it's about understanding people.
Yeah.
And the things they say and the things they don't say, and the way they are, and the little terrible, wonderful things about people. And it's also about being a writer as well, because writers have to be interested in people, and you have to kind of be interested in people's stories and who they are, and who they kind of really are under the surface, and you're always observing, and kind of witches have to be the same way, and how they involve themselves in the community, and how they look after people, and how they care for the people at the edges of society, the kind of the ill people, the old people. And we've both grown up with grandmothers who were shepherdesses. We've grown up with grannies that kind of went round the houses in a very witchy way to look after the old boys and girls that needed a little bit of care and attention. And it is about looking after each other, and the importance of doing that, and caring about people, and understanding that people are complex, and beautiful. That's the sort of central message of the books for me.
Oh, you did that beautifully.
I was even tearing up.
And it's about hard work as well, isn't it? Sort of
rolling up your sleeves and helping people with skin. My dad used to say it's not just about helping people with money. It's actually getting in there and doing the hard work, stepping up to the plate.
And I'm not expecting things to just come so easily to you as well, with magic and
not wishing upon a star.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Some people could learn from that. So coming to the end of our interview today, so our last couple of questions. So the next question is, what are you both working on next, whether it's your solo projects or anything else you're working on together?
Ooh. So I've got something radio-y coming out soon. So if anyone who follows me on the Twitter feed, I'll be announcing that soon. That's very fun. That's very much... Well, that will be appealing to people that like Discworld, I think, although it's not Discworld itself. So that's coming out soon. I'm doing kind of consulting on games. We've got various things that we're working on behind the scenes. So yeah, lots of bits and pieces. My Twitter, or X as it is now, and various social media. That's kind of where I'll be kind of talking about upcoming things.
And I'm interesting things with the I'm also finishing a series, Rani Reports, that I've written with my husband. So I've got it's 3 books in that series. It's my 3rd 3-book series. And then I'm working on something for adults at the moment as well. So it's interesting to take a step into something different. Feminist dystopia, which is always a good way to get out some of your feelings.
We'll be talking again soon. And for the last question, what are you both currently reading, watching, and what are you playing?
I'm playing Dave the Diver.
I've heard such good things.
I am actually a scuba diver, so I love anything that's got some kind of underwater or diving stuff, and it's very cute. What I'm watching at the moment, I usually got some form of drag race on, so I'm watching RuPaul's Drag Race UK at the moment. Just started The Burning Girls. I've always got sort of several things on kind of any channel. I'm trying to think what I'm reading at the moment. The Testaments is... I've finally got around to that. It's just actually finding... I do listen to a lot of stuff these days. I'm listening to Matthew Perry's biography as well, which is it's a difficult one. Yeah. So I tend to listen to a lot these days. Like, I grew up with reading a lot of physical books, but I find as an adult, it takes a lot more time. You have to really, you can't do other things at the same time, and my mind is so, like, I'm always skipping between things very, very fast. So if I'm working, I've usually got something on the iPad, then I might play a bit of a game, then I'll do a bit of a work, then I might watch this for like 5 seconds and then work. And so I'm always doing lots of different things, often at the same time, and it just keeps my brain stimulated. But reading is almost, there's something slightly sacred about it. Like, it feels so much more ritualistic, opening the book and turning the pages. And I grew up with just doing it all the time, and doesn't come as easy as being an adult. So I tend to collect books. And so I've always got lots of books around me, and I sort of dip in and out. But The Testaments is great. I'm going to think of some more books while you go.
I have a 6-year-old, so she tends to have control over what I'm doing anytime. Playing a lot of Mario Kart with her at the moment, which she's absolutely brilliant at, and Spider-Man. It's great watching her playing that. She's swing and release and swing and release all the time when she's playing it, which is just brilliant. Reading, a lot of stuff to her. Reading Ms. Marvel comics to her at the moment, which she's loving. So she's dual heritage, Asian, English, so she's loving seeing an Asian character in comics, which is great. Myself, I'm rereading Monstrous Regiment, and publishers just sent me a book, Heartseer by Rowan Foxwood, which is not out yet. It's a kind of pre-read, which I'm really enjoying that as well. Watching, just catching up with the last season of What We Do in the Shadows, which is really good. Just finished Loki as well, and I've completely forgotten the name. The new series, Godzilla.
Oh, I don't know.
It's completely gone. No, I shouldn't have even started this.
As soon as people ask you what you're doing at the moment, you instantly
No, I'm doing nothing. Absolutely nothing. Yeah, it's set after the events of the film, and I've only watched the first episode and I've forgotten the name of the series, but I enjoyed it.
Well, thank you so much for both joining us today. And obviously we're about to sign a lot of copies.
Yeah.
So which is very exciting. So thank you everyone at home. There'll be signed copies available to pre-order on our website and going out to all of our stores very soon. And we'll see you on the next FPTV. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you're enjoying watching Forbidden Planet TV and you're enjoying watching us talk to the world's most interesting and accomplished filmmakers, authors, artists, musicians, creators, subscribe right here. See you soon.